What's up, everybody? This is FitSpaz Recovery. I'm your host, Paul, and I'm here to help you get fit, healthy, and stay sober. So this week, I have it in my mind to talk about a handful of things. I want to riff on my fitness over the past week. I also want to talk about isolation, being isolated, people who are too reclusive, because that's my problem. And lastly, probably talk about cross-pollinating drug addictions and so forth. So what do you think of the picture? I improved it a little bit. I lifted the camera level about 14 inches. I think it's a little better. You don't see the roof from down below now. It's kind of just straight on me. I like it like that, okay? But so my back has improved quite a bit since a few weeks ago I had strained it a little bit shoveling snow, and I'm really glad it's better. I've started to get more back into normal workouts again. I had intended on starting this, but I've been just doing workouts from this occasionally, and instead I sort of, without even deciding, rolled into a new round of Body Beast. So I'm back to lifting straight weights, and we'll see where that goes. I think it'll be good. I'm doing really well so far. My chest is so bloody sore today. It's like, ow. And today I exercised my legs. It was a workout program from Body Beast called Build Legs, and it's extremely hard. I haven't done this one in about 4 months. And so, like, after doing it today, I was coming down my stairs to my basement. It's like 6-7 steps. And I was like, oh. Coming downstairs it was a little bit of a challenge earlier today. I feel better, but I know I'm going to feel some residual soreness from this. Soreness in a good way, not like excessive, holy crap. And what that means, which makes me excited, is I know when my muscle heals, it's stronger. It's going to be a tiny bit bigger, and so I get a big kick out of that. I just decided that I really want to get back into the weightlifting. Prepare my look for the summer if I go anywhere and take my shirt off. Be really super hot. That's so lame. Believe me, that's just a joke when I'm saying that. I don't really mean that. But it does make me feel better getting my physique in better shape and better chiseled, so to speak. And so, good stuff with my workouts. I've been maintaining well. I've been getting excellent sleep because most of these nights I'm just going straight to bed and not looking at any screens. No phone screen time, no iPad screen time, no watching TV, none of that jazz. Instead, I'm just going into my room, and sometimes I already am in my pajamas downstairs watching TV. Sometimes I already have my teeth brushed, and I go upstairs and I just climb right into bed and turn the light out. And what I do on my phone is I turn on a little bit of white noise because I just feel like that helps soothe me when I sleep. And so I've had a lot better luck with sleeping since I haven't been looking at the stinking screens before bed. And I don't think it's my imagination. I think I'm getting more deep, relaxing, restful sleep. So if you're having trouble sleeping, by all means, forget about screen time, okay? I probably have to get some regular conventional books again, because I used to like to read books when I go to bed. But since I'm not doing the screen thing now, I still think it's good to read books because it's the way the light shines in your face. I've read studies about it, and I'm not going to get into it. I'm just saying, if you're having trouble sleeping and you're looking at your phone or your iPad reading every night, your Kindle, whatever you're doing, you better stop it. You better check yourself. Trust me, it just will help you out. So take it from me, do that. And I'm curious, if you sleep better, if you do that and you sleep better, I'd like to get some feedback from you. So send email to paul@fitspaz.com. Next up, actually, you know what I want to talk about? I would like to get into the topic a little bit about isolating. I confess to you guys, I've said it on here before, I'm still saying it because I need to make big changes in my life, and these big changes have to come with little steps. I don't have to overwhelm myself by doing something that's overwhelming or a nightmare. So I'm somebody who identifies as an introvert. I'm stressed out when I think about going into social situations, especially not drinking like I used to drink. And of course, I've talked about this. They used to be my go-to method for dealing with social situations. Like, oh, hey, stressful socializing, have a drink. And now that I'm not doing that, it's like learning to ride a bike again, getting my balance, but I feel so much better not going into situations and drinking so much, because the day after, even multiple days after, it feels like a sledgehammer hit my brain and my mood and my disposition, and I'm not doing so well. But the point I'm getting to is I'm still having trouble with isolating, staying at home, not picking up the phone and calling people, connecting with people. And so I'm trying to make more choices to this summer, especially. I want to make more choices about how to get out and spend social time with people, healthy social time, being around good people, being around people who I would like to be like. And so what are some traits of people I'd like to be like? Well, starting with sober, obviously. And technically, I can be around people in a drinking situation and I can deal with that. It's something I want to learn to deal with. It's not like I'm so tempted to have a drink as much as it is just awkward dealing with it without drinking. It's not the alcoholic thing as much as just dealing with socializing in a certain way. So I want to get out. I want to meet people like me. People maybe into fitness, people into personal development, professional development. I have all these topics of things I've been thinking about connecting with others. For instance, like I would like to go to a WordPress meetup. There are people in town on meetup.com who get together on, I think, a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and they talk about how to build WordPress sites. And that's of interest to me because I've worked with WordPress sites a lot and I like them and it's interesting. And it's just a way for me to get out there and practice my social skills. What else? Other types of groups, when I think about getting together and playing music with people, because I'm a musician and so forth, I can sing, I can play guitar, especially those two things are like my strongest skills in that area, I think. It's just as far as mastery of the instrument, the voice and the guitar. I'm always concerned about musicians because it's just like a party thing. So if you get into a band, people are jamming and practicing and having beer and God knows what else. And plus, it's really so hard to find people that you connect with on the right level to make music. I would love to be able to do that, but I don't want it to revolve around drug use. And if you get into a band, let's say, and you have an hour-long set that's great, and you're like, hey, we want to play gigs out. That all sounds very exciting to me, except that being in the club atmosphere late at night, it doesn't jive with the patterns that I need to have for myself to maintain my sobriety, to maintain my mood. I like to get to bed early at night. And that's also a byproduct of the being introverted before, like I said. So what to do? That's sort of the bummer of the thought of being in a band gets derailed for me at this stage in my life because I'm like, I don't want to be around a bunch of party people, loudness, late at night. Whenever I go to bed late, I do feel that it affects my mood. The best thing for me is to stay on a pattern and stick to the pattern. I function best that way. So if I'm out, potentially drinking, all kinds of shitty doors could open up. Did I just say a swear word? Yes, I did. I rarely do that on here. I used to do that a lot. And in my own personal life, I run around my house and I'm like a potty mouth. But what other kinds of activities? Let's just sit here and brainstorm, shall we? I've thought recently about getting certified in this fitness with this fitness workout from Beachbody called P90X Live. And I keep thinking about that. And what I really need to do is just pull the trigger on that and do that. Because I feel like if I could teach a class of that once a week, half an hour somewhere, that would be extremely very good for me to get out there and socialize, help people, network for the fitness and so forth. I mean, so I'm saying that to you guys. I really should do that. I really should stop thinking about it and just do that. That's one of those things that's been on my mind. And I have an idea of where I might be able to have a class like this. and it could just be a good thing. So instead of just thinking about it and telling you guys about it, I should really do that. Should be on the top of my list of things I'm going to do, because I want to be around people who are into health and personal development and feeling good and so forth. So get that synergistic thing going with a lot of people who have the same kinds of goals. But back to being isolated, I still am having a tremendous difficult time convincing myself to go out and be around people every day. You know, today I got out briefly. I went to the grocery store, had a conversation with the the cashier guy, and he's a nice guy. I see him every time I go in there. He's very friendly to me, and it's very brief though. It's not enough to like fill a day and say, "Oh, I was social today." And by and large, I spent most of the rest of the day alone, except tonight. I went to Marijuana Anonymous, and being around everybody listening is good for me. It starts stirring my brain up, reminding me why I want to stay sober. That's why I think it's important. And I'm proud of it. I'm not going to say I'm ashamed. If anything, I would like people who I used to know to realize, hey, maybe this is something you want to try too. Certain people. Other people, like, please don't come in and ruin it for me. But see that insecurity creeping out right there? How very strange, right? I've been too isolated, and I do like watching TV. There's a certain amount of that I think is good because it's that relaxing form of escapism I've talked about before. But too much of anything is not good. 3 hours of exercise every day would be too much. Too much eating is not good. Too much of being around any one person is not good in my view. That it's like I want to find just the right amount, just the right balance of being around people. But I find it tremendously hard, okay? I think to myself, here are a set list of people. Cousins, a handful of friends. If I picked up the phone and called them, it would be perfectly all right. And they'd be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And we'd have the chance to get together, and it wouldn't lead me down a path to doing certain things I didn't want to do. Except that there's just this struggle I have. What is it about me that makes it hard for me to pick up the phone and connect with people? Especially the people that the job is already done. As far as connecting with family, calling them up, they'll like pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, Paul." A lot of these people, it won't even go to voicemail. And so what is it about that? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me that I have to sit here and be like, okay, it's going to be this goal to call this friend. And it's like, pick up the phone and dial. We're not even talking about cold calling some pretty girl I want to hook up with or date or something. We're talking about people with whom I have established relationships. It's really hard for me to do that. And I want to do that. And I should just start with like 1 or 2 a day and just start getting into the habit of that. Okay, here's the hour during the day when I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call somebody and leave a message and touch base and start stirring these connections because I know that's what I need and I know that's what's good for me. And why am I talking about this? Yeah, because it might help me. And by helping myself and expressing this to you, if you're suffering from isolating and being sort of like a recluse, maybe if this will help you, then it's totally worth it to me telling you how I'm feeling. Maybe that should be the goal that I'm telling you guys. Maybe I should make the goal of pick up the phone and call like 2 people a day. Not my parents. Like cousins or friends I already have established relationships with. And why is that so hard for me? I don't know. I'm not going to harp on that. I'm just saying I need to get more comfortable with doing that because I'm leading an isolated life. And when I talk about my goals, when I talk about the personal growth I want to have as a person, and philosophically, life in general, connections with people are very important. That song, people need people. So yes, by all means, I'm recognizing that I don't think all the isolation is good for me. I can get up and do my morning routine in the morning all alone and exercise and do the prayer and the meditation. But like, there's still something so vastly important missing. What's missing in life spiritually and personally if you're not willing to reach out to others and connect and engage? It's so important to do that. What is life without personal human connection? That's what I'm saying to you. That's the number one thing I have to try and overcome to make all kinds of things in my life work, all kinds of goals etc. None of these things will manifest if I don't get over it and just do it. Not easy, but it's a necessity. It's not easy, but it's worth it. I know it's worth it. If I putting the effort into connecting and so it's based in, oh well, hell, here's some new person. It'll be nice for a while, and then there's that potential for being hurt, or maybe you won't even connect and you want to connect, but they're not into you, and it's like those insecurities. You just have to be willing to take that hit. Get up after you're smacked down on the ground or you have your feelings hurt and be like, whatever, I'm moving on. And you have to be willing to move on because that's the nature of life, okay? And so drug addiction used to fill that void. Drug addiction used to be something that would be like a bond, no matter how superficial or trivial it may seem. So many people connect that way. Oh, you smoke pot, I smoke pot. Hey, cool, man. We both like pot. Yeah? Anything else? Is there any other aspect of our connection that's meaningful there? What's that? You like to drink too? Oh, me too. I like to drink. I know what I'm talking about with that. I think. Anyway. What else? Ladies and gentlemen, what else? I'll talk a little bit now about sort of cross-pollinating with drug addiction, all right? This is something that happened to me earlier this week. I was just thinking about cigarettes for some reason, and the feeling of cigarettes, and the idea of being addicted to cigarettes, which is one of the crappiest feelings in the world, being addicted to cigarettes. God, I hate it. But so I thought to myself, oh hell, before I go back to being a cigarette smoker again, I will go back to weed again. And so it gets me on this train of thought about, well, you got to be careful about everything because a cigarette may seem harmless. Oh, just one here and there, but I don't want to get back into a cigarette smoking habit. It's been about 10 years, I think, since I smoked a cigarette, which is crazy. I can't believe what is going on with time? It seems like yesterday. You add up all the time in my adult life I smoked cigarettes, and I think it's a little over a year, maybe a year and 2 or 3 months, somewhere in there. Because I added it up with all the trips I've taken to Italy and certain trips when I've smoked and I came back here and I still smoked, all that crazy jazz. And so pick up a cigarette and smoke it. And suddenly, like I'm saying, all of a sudden it creeps up on you little by little. I smoke 2 or 3 cigarettes and God almighty, my mind might be telling me to go get a pack tomorrow. It's that bad. And a pack of cigarettes. So then I'm addicted to that crap again. And then my mind's going to be like, well, I want to get off these things. How am I going to get off these things? And it's like, I'm going to go to something that tastes much better. And it's going to be palliative. So I go to the weed to quit. And then I'm stuck in that again. So I quit cigarettes. And so you cross-pollinate. And you try one thing and you do another thing. God knows I've said it a million times on here. If I have a drink, the effect that drink has on me, and that's why alcohol is the ultimate when it comes to being a gateway drug. I don't accept anything else as more of a gateway drug than alcohol. I swear to God. I'm surprised alcohol doesn't make me want to smoke a cigarette, but it doesn't. It makes me want to do other things, a little more kooky, wild drugs. You know, the gamut. It runs the gamut. I'm going to burp really quick. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Much better. So I would start by a cigarette or two, and then I'm smoking a pack every day or something. And I'm like, screw this, I'm going to quit this again. I'm going to go back to smoking weed. Or it just perverts the mind and makes you think, oh, I'm doing a little of this. Why not do a little of that too? And then bam, next thing you know, you're trapped back, stuck in the stupid addictions. And I'm amazed that it's been so long without smoking anything or drinking anything, because there was a period in my life when I was like, am I ever not going to smoke again? Like when you're drinking heavily, smoking a pack of cigarettes every day, and smoking weed constantly in between the cigarettes, holy crap, that it just makes me feel so worn out and nasty all the time. Don't want it, don't need it. God knows we don't need it, but it tricks the mind because of that addiction into thinking, I need this. And it's so phony and it's so stupid. And lighting a cigarette, I'm like, Oh, that's the part I like, when you're like, and you light it up and you take that first drag, and then everything after the first drag, I'm like, crap! This sucks! This is hell! This sucks! So it's really easy, actually, for me to keep a firm grip on my stupid smoking cigarette habit. That, yeah, I've had cigarette habits that went on. I think the longest I ever did it was 4 or 5 months, and that's part of the year, the summation of the year and 2 or 3 months that I smoked in the past, like I told you. But it sucks so bad getting on that drug. It sucks being a slave to anything, is what I should say. So, but always be careful. You may think, oh, this is harmless, this cigarette, but it's not harmless. I think it's one of the most devious, corporate evil things that has ever existed, because the whole goal of manufacturing it was to get you totally addicted to it, not just to it, the tobacco and the nicotine, but all these extra nasty, disgusting chemicals they put in it. It's infuriating to me. I can't even believe that the extra stuff they do is allowed. So when they get all carried away with regulating this and that, oh, but it's okay to have this #1 societal killer, cigarettes, just laying 1 million people dead every year, whatever the hell it is in the United States every year. God knows how many in the world who've smoked decades die every year from cigarettes. One of the most evil corporate things in the world. Can't stand it. I hope those CEOs have a heart attack. I'm sorry. I don't accept what you do as a living at all. I feel similarly about, CEOs of something like McDonald's. Because I tell my daughter McDonald's is poison and that it will kill you. And I mean it. I bloody mean it. You can try to gag me. I will lay waste to all my estate and personal value if you try to gag me. Because I'm saying what I'm saying. It's poison. That shit is poison. God, I said that twice in this show right now. Does that mean that this is an explicit podcast? Because I say it's S-H-I-T? I don't think so. But I like saying it sometimes, right? It just is the perfect thing to express a thought once in a while. The expletives. I love the expletives. Express a naughty thought. Say the F word. It is the perfect, indignant way sometimes to express your thought. And the S word and saying ASS and all kinds of other things that I love to say. Swear words. Ooh, I love to swear. Which is why I should make this an explicit podcast exclusively, right? Right. Maybe the future of this is it's going to become rated R/not rated, naughty, adult, etc. We'll see. What? Still going? Oh, whatever. So yeah, all the cross-pollination of drug use, you got to be careful. So you think it's just one drink. I'm just having one drink. But I know the way I feel after 1 or 2 drinks. I will get a buzz immediately. That's who I am. I can feel alcohol very quickly in my system. And it immediately gives me those other triggers to want to do other things. You can be like, dude, I have a line of Coke. And I'll be like, yeah, man, I'm a partier, huh? And it's so stupid to get in that state of mind. Do you realize, regardless of the doors to perception, I get all that. Doing drugs, the way it expands the mind, the way it'll even sort of make you think in a different way. And sometimes it's deceptive. But sometimes I'm like, dude, that's straight up philosophically profound. But the way it will delude you into thinking you're cool or rebellious, or you're experiencing something mystical when your mind is just scrambled all to hell, and in actuality, you're destabilizing yourself. And I'm still envious of people who can do that. You're like, oh, I can have a hit of a joint, and it doesn't bother me forever, and 6 months later, I do it again. I wish I were that person. I'm not that person, and I wish I could be. I'm more of an addictive personality. I just know it about myself. You know what I'm saying? Does any of this mean anything to you? Because I encourage you guys to give me some feedback along these lines, all right? If you agree with what I'm saying or disagree, be polite. Don't be hating, but email me by sending a message to paul@fitspaz.com. And what else, people? What else? If you're interested in hearing more of these shows, you can go to FitSpaz.com and find everything. Links to all the different social media I have, and I express myself a little differently on every one. So you can follow me on any which one you find is interesting. On Snapchat, I'm Paul the Producer. On Instagram, I have FitSpaz Radio as my handle. I also have Paul the Producer as a handle. What else? Twitter, I'm FitSpaz Radio. YouTube, I don't have a URL yet because I don't have enough subscribers, but if you go to fitspaz.com, there will be a link there. I ought to also create a URL that will forward to that page. That would be easy enough for me to do. Maybe I'll do that. So, everybody, this is FitSpaz. I'm Paul the Producer. And that's a little bit sad, isn't it? I'm Paul the Producer, and I'm a marijuana addict. And even I formerly smoked marijuana. And, you know, there's that part of me, I'm afraid to say that because I know the negative way people react to that in the marijuana. It's not addictive! Like, give me a break, dudes. And you know what? Let me tell you something. When I was smoking marijuana, I never thought that it wasn't addictive. But what I was going to say is if anyone ever had said, I'm having difficulty in my life, I want to change, and Paul, I'm quitting smoking, drinking, whatever it is, I would have supported you just like I would support you now if you did that. And so I expect the same courtesy from people. If you are emotionally mature, smoking or not smoking, doing drugs or not doing drugs, you accept that about someone else. You say, by golly, if that's what you got to do, I care about you and I will support you personally in doing so. That's the honest to God truth. So I'm personally supportive of people who want to get away from it, try something else. And I still support a personal choice to do it legally, morally, as a libertarian, to do it. But don't forget about the freedom that exists when you have that choice, but you choose not to. To not be a slave to drug addiction. That's a powerful thing. And so, what am I saying? I'm just saying I would appreciate that courtesy from people. If you can understand where I'm coming from, not attack me, because I'm not anti-marijuana. I'm anti-addiction. I'm all for the freedom of choice and having things legal. I think things are over-regulated. I think a 12-year-old should be able to go and buy a beer. That's how extreme I am. Oh my God. I just think we should be allowed to be adults and try and make the choices ourselves. And I'm not talking about drinking and driving right now. Shut up about the drinking and driving. I'm just getting into this political dialogue in my head. It's like, oh, devil's advocate. Well, no, what about this? What about this? And that's a sign of a healthy mind when you can understand all those different perspectives and still understand where you're standing as a person. You know what I'm saying? But I am gonna wrap this up right now. I'm Paul the Producer. Check out fitspaz.com. Of course, I want to thank Kevin MacLeod for the wonderful musical tapestry I use on this show, for giving him credit. Go to incompetech.com. Also check out the link at the end of this video. And you can go there. He licenses music for commercial use. Also, I use this under Creative Commons because I don't really have a commercial monetary purpose with this podcast right now. This is just exclusively to help people. I'm not pitching for money right now. I'm pitching for love. You know what I'm saying? And that love has a value does not inherently make it commercial. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm just jive-turkeying my butt off right now. Everybody have a lovely week. I will be back with you again next week. I'm trying to stay consistent with these. By golly, if you want to get involved in fitness, contact me, Paul at fitspaz.com. I want to get a team going. I want to change some lives financially with regard to health, with regard to sobriety. I know this can be done. Do you know this can be done? Do you have the personal belief this can be done? Because I used to be whacked out all the time, and I was like, I don't know if this can be done. But holy crap, it can be done. It can be done. So let's do it. Stop making excuses. Excuses drive me mad. Help thyself. And then after you help yourself, you will be in a position to help others. We can have this giant circle jerk of helping one another. Okay, that was almost explicit. Circle jerk is explicit. Sorry. I'm silly sometimes. I can't help it. But I hope you're all having a lovely day. I'm so happy we're moving into spring. Almost 80-degree weather today, almost 80-degree weather tomorrow. Snow's going to be back on Saturday in the Colorado schizophrenic weather. Blah! And I hope you're all well. Stick with me. This is Paul. This is FitSpaz Radio. I am Paul, and this is FitSpaz Radio. Everybody have a lovely week. I was just thinking, I did not arrive easily where I'm at in my life. I've had to struggle. I've gone through turmoil, and all of that struggle is necessary to wind up in a better place. Don't ever think that unless it's a miracle or unless you're lucky, most things, good things, take a real amount of work. And so that's just what I'm saying to people. I've never arrived at anywhere good without some degree of pain, turmoil, or hard work involved. But it's also sometimes you arrive somewhere good because you love what you're doing. Find your purpose. I'm here to help. If anyone wants help, if my perspective helps, I want to know it. So everybody take it easy.